continue. For attending the meeting. Stop. I believe I think Ken Chapman's on the line to President. I'll start to create. Chapter manager, Shadow Visit, man vice president, Marshall. Along here, PNC, chair of Mr. Chuck Howell, or Chantal Economic Development, and also member, Mr. Brennan here. I'm here, SCG, that here, accountant, chapter accountant, just Linda. Here, Gizome, cool. With that, Shabbat, can we do the roll call?
Okay. On chapter, Patricia Blackmore. Darlene Pino.
Good morning. This is Darlene Pino from Notice on Chapter Vice President, and also the Notice on N.O.S.T Vice President. I'm in attendance online. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Bedoni. Ogento Chapter, Willis Gay.
Yes.
Thank you. Gene Holiday. Marietta.
Present, I'm here.
Thank you.
This is Jean.
Thank you, Jean. Marietta Bedoni. Content Chapter, Lawrence Walkay.
Here.
Marsha Gray.
Here.
Elizabeth Whitethorn.
I'm here.
Linda Melboy.
Present.
Hopkinton Chapter, Joseph G. N.O.S.T.
I'm here.
Thank you. Myself, Carlson. Here. Honorable Herman Daniels. Yes. Dr. Corleo. Tom Patero. Mr. Patrick Delguy. Arthur Moore.
I'm here. Good morning.
Robert Black Jr. Alvin Tosi. President.
Take your stuff over to. Looks like some of the presenters are not here yet. Only Mr. Willoughby. Miss Willoughby. I apologize for that.
Good morning, this is Geraldine. I am present.
Thank you.
Who's that?
Gilbert.
Okay. Thank you. With that, I'll give the floor to Dr. Crowell and Tom Terrell. Would you call that? Doing four stuff.
Thank you, without that, Mr. President, without that, Shanto, I do not know. I'm away from Shanto. Okay, Shema. I do not know Shema. See. Record for yeah. I'm planning zoning to share. Now. I don't know about, we have a Potato chapter. We have a Potato chapter president, chapter vice secretary. That's my system. We got 2009. Audit that developed. Process on a evaluation, another vice president. Audit team. So I was just thank you for the idea. I think for the raising official. I don't know for those of you can we have a chapter president, vice president, or the secretary. I was just not much. No about maybe please come this morning. If you need to come, should they see me? How does she? There's a coming square on the streets over there. I don't know, but I want to say thank you to speaking chapter for hosting this. I don't know the data. Back in July 28th, Young Wake Up. All that week, speaking at their strategic planning session over at N.O.S.T. I don't know the great at that time, so the great and it's a great email. And that Chanto chapter leadership, so the next day, in the 4 chapters. On the 29th, Friday, we had this meeting there. All the 4 chapters. I don't know at that time, Dr. Yellowman, Carol, they did the presentation on CJN-29-22. They were guys out of the house. So from there, we thought that the result meeting, we're going to have another meeting. This is the meeting of today. I just want to say thank you. I don't, as you all know, for those that data, what's data? May 29th, 2021. That nation received ARPA funds. About $1,861,554,458.43. When it's on trade, 1.8 million express. August 16th, 2021. The Navajo Nation received another fund from the federal government, ARPA funds, $217,907,006.50. So that totals to $2,799,461,464.93. When it comes to that at all. Okay, and they will data on 2.079 million. That's when it comes to that at all. I understand what they see. We allocated some dollars, 557 million every year for hardship. I understand what they see for radar. Nomination Council approved resolution CJN-29-22 in the amount of about $1,070,000,000. When that so the data Pass that. These are the breakdowns. Um, Our region received 34,512,280. That's what they got to me. So you got out of you look at the breakdown. The big chapter and regional projects. Today, the last meeting, we talked about the 8.8 million, 8,802,340. Even at that, chapter and regional projects. Maybe at the next one, teaching for the legislation, I'm going to be working closely with that Office of Legislative Counsel, Navajo Nation Fiscal Recovery Fund Office. Division of Community Development, a legislation because meant for the $8.8 million. So, all the chapters, we have projects. It came for those that nation development. So hitting up that auto now for the public safety, 40 million. That's for nationwide. Auto count, 19.2 million. Ava nationwide hardship. 120 million nationwide initiative like that. Out of wastewater, water processing, goes down that chapter, the state code, out of that description house, out of the council. Out of not broadband, 100 million as a nationwide, no, 100 million. A young way for delegate regions, 24, so that's so. 4.1 million. Broadband, 20 million nationwide. Electric connections to homes, even though there's problems on that chapters. Out of the housing, 50 million. 80, divide that by 24. So our region, we got 2,083,000. Out of veterans, that's nationwide, housing, manufacturing, nationwide. So housing for benefits area, so formal benefits area. So formal benefits chapters. Out of those backward additions, young, we have 150 million. Divide that by 24 delegate regions. So our region, we got 6.25 million. So total $34,512,280. So last meeting, we had Dr. Pearl Young, she gave her presentation out of the Mr. Tom Platero, how to go back the 8.8 million. Easy to pay it, it's not on network, it's developed. So I just want to say thank you. And I believe Danny Lee from FRF office is on the line. So Aronana from CHIP, so I believe they're on the line. Issue for those that will be doing that, the presentation and for the days. Thank you, sir. For facilitating this meeting. So now that's a thing. I just want to say that thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we know if Dr. Pearl is on her way to Ontario? Okay. Okay. Danny Lee. Okay. Okay, I'll give the floor to Danny Lee from the FRS office. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. And then,
Thank you.
good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was given late notification this morning to attend this meeting. So right now I'm just listening in. And then if you have any questions or comments directed to the FRFO office, I'll do my best to answer your questions. So that's all I have for now.
Just check down the road, see if early on it's okay, with that, I don't know if you had a chance to review your CJN attachment that was emailed to, I think this is about everybody. I don't know if you had a chance to read it. And as you notice, a lot of these sections in here refers to decency, that there'll be the overall, there'll be the oversight of a lot of these projects. Like bathroom additions or electrical addition, they're going to have the right they'll be authorized to oversee it. I know, right off the bat, we had a lot of questions, a lot of information we want to know before we really start talking about it. I know the breakdowns in here, the CJN-29-22 code.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. President. I don't know that, Mr. Lee, thank you for getting on the line this morning. Can you go over the 8.8 million? Can you do a little presentation on to the 4 chapters here? What the process, how to go about the process? AD given Mr. Lee. Out from there, questions.
So you're another Tom Platero, no? Dr. Yellowman, they've been given presentations to the chapters, different regions. $8 million for the regions, for the each delegate. Each delegate for the region, for each chapter. Section 8 wastewater as an example, broadband, electric connections to homes. This listing, the main listing from CJN-29-22. This FRF office, Daarop Finlanda illeto. Als je kijkt, there's a certain plan. So die peso chito illeto. Als je le base mass als je dat ito laat slecht hadden. Ede ja dan. Abe ho niet ba kunst niet hoe je na adoli. Dat goed zo goed dat.
Yeah, I don't know if you're, how many is familiar with the dates, the two important dates? One of them is on September 30th, 2024. By then, all the funds are, it says here, what section is this? Let me look at it. Section 3, under number 3. Section L, number 3. It says all purpose proposed delegate region project shall be sufficiently developed such that funding for the projects can be obligated and encumbered in the nation's financial management information system, FMIS, by 5 p.m. It's one of the dates, one of the key dates. That means by then, according to Early Oregon and Mr. Tom Terry, it's on page 9 of 28. You have this copy here. September 30th, 2024, and fully expended by 5 p.m. on September 30th, 2026. I'm going to have Madam Vice President from Chanto to define what obligated and comfort me from the financial point. Can you define it as?
Obligated and encumbered.
Yeah.
So pretty much we have to have our next year, this is for the 2026, right? We have to have our paperwork in, everything to be ready to be paid. So pretty much what it is. Just making sure all your paperwork's in. Ready to go.
Yeah, that's on September. Yeah, that's on September 30th, 2024. I'll know by September 30th, 2026. Hey, that's from all the projects and everything should be paid off and if they're not done, then it will be. Yeah, so we'll probably start looking at it at a certain time. So it's important that all the chapters need to stay on top of their projects. Like as it is, the percentage that they're not here. I hope that's not the case when this takes in. So we don't want to see them in the chair. We want that support. So, I think it's up to us to stay on top of these projects, chapters. And the difference is certified chapter and the non-certified chapters. So, it was explained that clearly that there's going to be a little difference there. So I don't know how much difference it's going to be. I wish they were here to explain that to I know Jerry Robertson in those presentation. I don't know if he has some information for us. Oh, Shadaya was,
They're not defined for the officer. Tom Carroll, trying to get on the line. I'm trying to, hopefully we get on the line soon, because there's a lot of questions. So, for the data, I know that, Mr. Lee, again, for the data, can you elaborate a little on CJY 4121 that the Navigation Council approved, and also resolution CJN. Resolution BFS 3121. I don't know how to speak, Mr. Lee, kind of go over those the two resolutions that the Navigation Council and also Budget and Finance Committee approved. For the CJN 29-22. After your presentation, we'll open up for questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I'll give it my best shot. But anyway, that CJY 4121, the way I understand it is what appropriated all this money, I think from the beginning last year, I believe. And that's what and how this, like some of this money went back to like Defunded CARES Act, and then how the money was to be allocated and how it was to be utilized. And that was kind of like the start of this whole ARPA funding, basically. And then even like the establishment of this office. And so that to start planning, to start organizing of how this money is to be utilized. So that was kind of like the starting point. Because when you receive a whole lot of money like that, and then without a lot of general information, like the different categories that you're like looking at right here, like public safety, hardship, and wastewater, electrical connections. There's somewhere you gotta start putting like that's just like the skeleton, I guess you would say that the bare bones of this whole how this money is to be utilized, coming from the U.S. government and utilizing their guidelines of how this money is to be utilized. So with that in mind, you got to start putting details into these projects and like start adding meat and like skin and to these bones here. So that's where it got started, that CJY 4121. And then let's see, I was just reading the BFS 3121 and I was concentrating on some other things here the other day. And I think that was like to establish what was given the Budget and Finance Committee, like setting up the templates, I think that what Mr. Platero and Dr. Yellerman had been going over, and like for the expenditure plans, and then like the setting up of the budgets. So that's basically the gist of that BFS 3121, I think I would say in a nutshell. And then from there, like there's a transition going into that the current what was passed here recently, that CJN 29-22. And then going back to that BFS, well, then that's where it started, like I said, defining a little bit more about what the U.S. Treasury is requiring and the different categories, and then defining what they're saying. And like there's a transition from that to how the Navajo Nation is to utilize these funds. And like, as I had mentioned, setting up these expenditure plans or request forms of to utilize these funds, and going back to like this $8 million that that has been appropriated for each region, and then the differences between the non-governments certified chapters and the non-certified chapters, and then like I said, all the templates are a part of that BFS legislation, and that's what what has been disseminated, has been given to the people and the chapters and the different like the Division of Community Development, and that's how then it goes back to like the Department of Justice, and they review it, they take a look at it, and they say that, okay, yeah, this will fit into this category, or they need a little bit more information. And so that all that information, it carries forward into what is being done today, and especially like this money that's been gets appropriated for the different regions. So all this this background information, now that's going to be utilized, that's going to be put into play today, and then the different chapters, the different delegates working with their chapters are going to come in, and then they're going to, maybe they have questions, maybe more specific questions related to a specific project. And this office here, this FRF office, is to help them, to help guide you. And then there's something that's not understanding by somebody, and to help them to understand. And then me, myself, being a part of the support staff here as a civil engineer, to help define some of these projects, to see if it's like feasible. That's it. Based on that, right away, the hot needle, na suddenly she chila hoda hot ila city sheet quota hot lodo choice you bought the hot shit is the hoda ila body non set out it is she washi saw that the hot loss but the hot shit hoda is is the hot low it then hoda 저희 이날 소시 오늘 그거 일로 케호 내서 시다 이 것도 이번 여디가 이 지나는 시대 이번 여서 어느 분도 날 소스 빌라가 있으니 콘히트 cannot 아니도 large as kids 다이도 Jonathan 내주이 라도 asli 저이 베번 나타 저이 베도 리시빈 여서 보내서 또 리도คนหินเนี่ยนี่เกี่ยวนี่ปะช่วยเดียวพอดูช่วยแล้วโอ้เดี๋ยวจะต่อพอดูแล้วที่ตัวโชยตัวเราจะหัดจะหัดจะหุ่นจีนี่ต่อช่วยจะไปคิดชันน่าหุ่นนี่ต่อช่วยยอดตัวเดี๋ยวหัวช่วยอะไรได้ตัวคิดช่วยจะหัวต่อพอเราจะหัดจะหัดโอ้ไปแบบจะหาหน้าสีإيه ده هلت ولا أهل هات إلى أهل جو هلت ولا بنات صادولي بتزيلودولي جو أنا طلع جيل هذا هو أنا كندن جاء هذا جو أنا بتزيلوجيل جو ناس نجي 我的是就懂得那说啥就本也，我到这帮啥其实，所以那的是我帮他做了多力，你知道多力少，你知道，可以做很多的好多，都很多的那样式其实啊，然后等专业哦，那个就很自然，就好多，哎对呀，就知道是他弄，我哎，其实那很多多的，哎对好多。
Mr. Lee. Yes, Mr. Nahum, I believe Dr. Yeldman is on the line. Shemai, can you hear us? Dr. Yeldman.
Good morning. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning. I was having some trouble with my microphone, but could you, I'm just letting you know, I am on the call, but if there was a direct question to me, could you please, restate your question?
There was no questions from Mike, but we have you on the agenda. Number 5, ARPA update CJN-29-22. We have you on the agenda, Shemai, you and Mr. Tom Terrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Yeldman, thank you for getting on the line. Today, we're here at Sapikin chapter. The great Earl Sombrero. I think that's a young height. Again, but we don't wait. During our meeting at Twin Arrows, today, there was some officials there, but today, yeah, there's officials, well, Jay, so that they weren't there at the meeting, they weren't on the line during our meeting at Twin Arrows, so they're here. So for those about this case, can you go over that 8.8 million the CJ, the resolutions that was passed by Council, Budget and Finance Committee, and Council again for the CJN-29-22. Can you go over 80 these officials? Thank you, President.
Oh, Hagoshi, I think that I also met some, I think 2 of the JATO officials over at Kienta too. I'm pretty sure, but I can go over it again and let me know who is, maybe Mr. Sombrero, if he can let me share my screen, or Mr. Sombrero, if you can help me pull up the DCD webpage.
You can share your screen.
Okay. I'm not always the best at doing that. So let me figure it out. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Let me. Can you see what I have up here? DCD webpage?
Yes.
Okay. Again, this is for everybody on the call. Adonana Yate. No, yeah. Shana, Delegate Herman Daniels, and to Miss Small Canyon too, for coordinating the meeting and getting everyone back together. I'll briefly just share with you where to access the information and how to get the information. And then maybe some recommendations for our next meetings. But you come here to the DCD webpage, you come to the ARPA, and I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. So do you see Joe Biden?
Yes,
Okay. And then up here to the top is CJN-29-22. Click on that. And then here's the actual legislation. So I recommend everybody to read this. Please read it, become familiar with it. It is about 200 pages, but 226 pages. But we did kind of summarize the legislation for you. And this is the presentation I'll go over. So can you all see the Window Rock, the Memorial Park there, Veterans Park?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so here's what I just showed you, the DCD webpage. And then here's where you click to get the information. And then here's the actual legislation. And then July 15th, 2022, this legislation was a historic legislation and it was signed into law July 15th, 2022. And it was the signing ceremony was in Crown Point, New Mexico. So several delegates from all over came and witnessed this historic signing. So the allocations and the sections that really kind of relate to DCD that we're responsible for are these sections here, section 3, section 9, section 10, and section 11. I'll spend a majority of my time this morning on section 3, the delegate region plan. And then I believe Judith is on the call and you may have N2A or you may have N2A present, but N2A does a wonderful job covering section 9. And then I believe Mr. Delguy communicated with Miss Small Canyon on covering and discussing section 10. And then when we met at Twin Arrows with Delegate Herman Daniels chapters, Mr. Black, Robert Black did go over this section 10 former Bennett Freeze housing. And then we have bathroom addition. This bathroom addition, we probably will be having a mandatory meeting pretty soon with all chapters on the bathroom addition. So these are again the same sections, but this whole legislation itself has 14 sections. 14 sections. The last two are not infrastructure related. The last two are contingency, and there was an allocation given back to the FRF pot. And then section 6 is not infrastructure. Section 6 is hardship. So I'll primarily go over section 3 today. To the right, these are the divisions that received the money. Here's the oversight and then the legislative oversight. And then again, the total allocation amount that was allocated to DCD. So let me just share with everybody here. Section 3, 211 million. This is the only section that requires the DCD, the FRF, and the council delegate and the chapters to work together on completing the chapter expenditure plan. So section 3 has a timeline. Section 9, DCD and N2A were already working on the subrecipient agreement for those plans to go out the door. Section 10, we're already working with DCD CHID and a couple vendors like NECA and Direct Homes to begin construction for these Section 10. Same with housing manufacturing. Same with Bennett Freeze, former Bennett Freeze. Robert Black is working on that. And then Section 11, the bathroom addition, we have a bathroom addition team. They're already working with NTUA, NECA, and IHS. So Section 9, 10, and 11, they're already being facilitated through sub-recipient awards. The services will go to the people, but the funding will remain at central government. Only Section 3 is where the delegate may select funding to go to the certified chapters. And that Section 3 is the only section that requires us to meet some timelines. And it also requires the delegate to drop a legislation on the expenditure plan. It has to go through council and it has to get passed or must achieve the signature of president. And then we can begin implementing the delegate's expenditure plan. So again, these are the reasons why we have the funding. These are the reasons why we have the allocations. So you can find that also on the actual legislation and the original legislation from the Biden administration. And then Section 3 is the approval of the chapter and regional projects expenditure plan. The total allocation is the 211 million to be divided equally between the 24 delegate regions in the amount of 8.8 million. And the delegate regions shall mean all Navajo chapters. Maybe for some, this is maybe your second time hearing this. If this is your second time or even your third time, it starts to become familiar. You start to kind of feel more comfortable with the information. So DCD shall manage and administer the funds and the delegate region project plans on behalf of the non-certified chapters, very similar to other previously enacted projects. And the Navajo Nation central government may award funding to the LGA certified chapters through subrecipient agreement. So this doesn't happen until the expenditure plan is dropped into the legislative process by the delegate, and the delegate identifies an amount or communication on the expenditure plan, what he or she has decided to give to the certified chapters. After the president signs it, then we work with FRF office and OMB on that subaward and the business unit for the certified chapters and the overall expenditure plan. This is the deadline I was talking about. So there's an internal Navajo Nation deadline, and then there's a U.S. Treasury deadline. The internal Navajo Nation deadline is September 30th, 2024 for the delegates' expenditure plan to be encumbered. So we have to encumber those funds. But I think we can do it sooner. So this is Delegate Delegate Daniels, might be even his third meeting. So every delegate region, they have been meeting, over the last month and a half preparing for this. So I really appreciate Chanel Delegate Daniels for meeting continuously with his chapter. So I think producing the expenditure plan really can happen sooner than 2024. Chanel, I did learn from DOJ that DOJ considers this to be a one-time legislation for the expenditure plan. One time for the delegate to drop the legislation. I understand that DOJ is not considering multiple legislations for the expenditure plan. So it's a one-time expenditure plan legislation. So I just want to share that is what I'm gathering, but you're more than welcome to ask Dana as well and confirm that. Each Navajo Nation Council delegate shall select the FRF projects, and these projects do have to go through the DOJ Appendix A eligibility review. And we've been working with chapters to already identify projects for the 8.8 million. So I know I know in other presentations, some chapters or leadership, they were thinking that this 8.8 million was to cover their bathroom or their housing, but this is on top of what you're already getting in the legislation. So when I logged on to this call, I don't know who's hosting the call, but Delegate Daniels' listing was already on the screen. So this 8.8 million is on top of all those projects that were listed in that, what was on the screen. So hold on one second. Where's my mute here? I don't know where the mute is. Can you help me get a hold of Sheila so we can take care of the ARPA calendar? Let me finish this presentation and then I'll meet with her. And oh, okay. And then can you ask Wesley to get on the NABI call? So we know what the agenda is. Okay. Okay, sorry. We got multiple things going on here. Just on a side note, we believe that maybe Delegate Thomas Walker may be dropping, he may be adding to the agenda today for emergency funds, emergency chapter funds. So we want to make sure that we're on the line to assist. And then I believe we may be asked to produce some information to NABI today on project shortfall. So we're just letting you know that I'm multitasking over here too. So anyway, what I was saying was when I got on the call, somebody already had on the list on the screen here, the projects that Delegate Herman Daniels will be allocated through the legislation. This 8.8 million is on top of that, and the 8.8 million has not been identified. It's kind of an empty list. So you, chapter officials and Delegate Herman Daniels, will have to create that information and put it together through the expenditure plan. the delegate region project plan shall be compiled. That's what we're working on. And when I read that, I immediately think of a template. So we did put the template together. Shall be compiled and approved by Navajo Nation Council resolution, and it shall be signed by the president of the Navajo Nation. And the delegates may select projects for their delegate region projects plan from the list of projects. That list of projects is the listing that has either been reviewed already by DOJ or maybe what was submitted in the DCD portal. But nonetheless, they all have to go through DOJ for the eligibility determination. I see a question here, says, can you elaborate on the one-time legislation to be dropped by the council delegate? Okay, so I'll get to that here in a second. The delegates may select projects for their delegate region project plan from a list of projects. I just explained that. I'm going to jump here. The delegate may also add region-specific funds to other previously enacted projects or expenditure plan. So that line right there says, add region-specific funds to other previously enacted projects. How I interpret that is if Sabikin wanted to add more bathrooms, TBK want to add more bathrooms to their listing, they can use part of that 8.8 to help add to their bathrooms. That means they're adding the 8.8 million to other region-specific projects that were previously enacted. So that's what that line means to me. I don't know if Tom has other interpretations of that, but that's how I've been explaining that section. Also, it may include perhaps other projects. I know New Mexico chapters are asking if they have other projects, if they can use the 8.8 million to help complete those projects, or a citizen project to help complete those projects. So those would be considered previously enacted projects too. So I hope I'm clear on that part. In addition, delegates may select projects that have not been previously submitted. So if a chapter has not submitted a new Appendix A application and it's their first Appendix A application, it still has to go through DOJ for eligibility determination and then present it to your council delegate for his or her support to be considered in the 8.8 million. So the executive director of the FRF office, which is, I believe I saw Mr. Platero on the call, which is the Mr. Platero, and DCD shall assist the council delegate in developing his or her respective delegate region plan, and then including the applications. So again, on our webpage, we have all of these applications. And when you go to our webpage, next to CJN-29-22, you will see BFS 31-21, and that has all of the application process. So we have that all. It's even on the bottom of this presentation. And then up here it says DCD shall assist each council delegate I do feel that we have been making ourselves available for the 24 delegates and helping them put together that 8.8 regional expenditure plan. So a big part of the 8.8 million involves working with DOJ, and DOJ's role and responsibility is to review the application for determination of the eligibility. So keep in mind, remember, DOJ doesn't vet the project. We do, DCD and the chapters, we vet the project for its making it construction ready. DOJ determines it to be eligible for federal dollars, so that the eligibility criteria that comes from the federal government. It does not come from Navajo Nation. It comes from the federal government, and DOJ determines the use of the project, or determines the project and the use of the money for the project to be eligible. Keep in mind, DOJ can also say that project is not eligible for the use of the federal dollars. I know that DOJ has made some, what's it called when it's not eligible? Ineligible, they've made some insufficient determinations. Some of the determinations that DOJ made when they were insufficient might have been for technical reasons, like, you know, there was no signature on the application, but I think one economic development project was not eligible last year. So DOJ has made some determinations that were not eligible. Any questions so far? I'll get to the delegate regional plan here in a second on the legislative process, but any other questions? I don't see any other questions in the chat box. Okay, I'll keep going. So each delegate shall submit a comprehensive list of projects, including the BFS 31-21. So there was a question earlier about the legislative process. So from here, moving forward, DCD, the FRF office, and the chapters, we need to work together to help put together this expenditure plan for the 8.8 million. If Herman Daniels has 4 chapters, and he decides to do a kind of a distribution or an equal distribution to the 4 chapters, I don't know what the amount comes out to be. Let me just do some math. Shana, have you guys had a discussion how you want to distribute or divide the 8.8 million?
Hello?
I'm Chincho, say Robert. We use it at meetings. Something that, today, we haven't, either how to relate the 8.8 million to the I see by the so it is equal distribution or relate projects that's what's the big head net was it, but it is by I know that one of my chapters ready. Not source connection, but they I don't know, not the data. Edit our Yaba, I see the windows, whatever. And I'll see the like, thank you.
Okay, Hagoshi, So I just want to be careful moving forward until you guys have decided how to distribute the 8.8 million. Right now, our job is to either help submit any new Appendix A's that have not been reviewed. So moving forward on the Appendix A, the FRF office, probably Mr. Platero, it will be Mr. Platero. He's the one that signs off on those Appendix A. So say you have a new project that you want to consider for the 8.8 million, you will have to do the Appendix A, and that will have to be signed by Mr. Platero and then reviewed by DOJ. Once we get everything together, all the proper or the selections of the project listing for the 8.8 million, and there was consensus and agreement on behalf of all the chapters, then Delegate Herman Daniels can begin and ask for that to be dropped into a legislative process. Then he has to present that legislation to his colleagues and prepare that for Nabishi or council. And then it goes to the president's office for president's support. And it's a legislation. That expenditure plan will become legislation, and Council Delegate Herman Daniels, his role will be to get it across the finish line. So our job is to help, our job, DCD and the chapters, our job is to put the expenditure plan together. So I hope that answers the question. I believe it was from Miss Arlene. So I'll keep going. Again, that expenditure plan, we have to produce it by September 30th, 2024. Keep in mind too, we're also in our construction time right now too. So these are some of the items that you can cover or you can consider for your expenditure plan. You can do some renovations, housing renovations, house wiring. You can hire people. You can assist for, you can hire individuals to help carry out these projects. You cannot do COVID testing, and you cannot do vaccinations. You also cannot do a cash assistance similar to the hardship program. So there are some things you cannot do with the 8.8 million. And then the projects shall be sufficiently developed by September 30th, 2024. Projects must be construction ready. The delegate regional plan shall be subject to CJY 41-21. And for the time today, I am gonna go check on the NABI, but I'm gonna ask Mr. Platero to kind of explain what this means, that the delegate region plans shall be subject to the fund management plan. And in the delegate region project shall identify its own administrative oversight. I feel like that's already happening because DCD, we report to RDC. And the delegate region plan shall not include the SDS listing. When you meet with NTOA on your projects, they'll go into a little bit more detail on this one right here. And then the delegate region plan, they're encouraged to prioritize veteran housing. The other thing is our projects moving forward, if you do project renovation to your chapter, it must be ADA compliant. So now I'm going to jump forward to the Appendix A application. So you heard me earlier say that DOJ has to do a review and DOJ has to determine the eligibility criteria. That is from the US Treasury. This is on the same presentation. I haven't switched anywhere, but this is what DOJ connects the dollar, the project, and the purpose together. So again, remember, these are federal dollars. If you are proposing a project, your project has to be under one of these numbers here. Under this expenditure category, like public health, your project has to be under one of these numbers. DOJ makes the determination that your project is, let me look at an easy one. Easy one right here, 6.1. So if TBK says they want to do a project and they submit it under the Appendix A application and they say it's a 6.1, DOJ makes that determination, not DCD, not the FRF, but DOJ. Once they give it that determination and it's eligible, then Delegate Herman Daniels can consider it for the 8.8 million. So this US Treasury here, these categories, they help us keep all of these funds in compliance with the federal dollars. These are federal dollars, and the funding has to be one of these over here. It has to comply with one of these over here. It's not just general use dollars. So if you're wondering how come DOJ has to review, it's because DOJ is helping us be in compliance. In the event that Navajo Nation gets audited, we want to make sure that we're doing our part to alleviate any liabilities on the Navajo Nation. So that's our way of being in compliance. So that's why we have to submit to DOJ and have one of these items reviewed or projects reviewed. This is the application. So these are the individual entities that can submit the application. This is what the application looks like. If you're going to do one, some of you have already done this, but this is the application for the non-certified chapters. This is the information you put in here. It's your contact information. Here's the project name and title. Here's the name of the officials and the administration. So all of this needs to be filled out. This is where you insert your purpose of the project. Here's where you insert the program or how the project will benefit the Navajo people. This is where those eligibility criteria tie in right here, F. So you have to tie in this section right here to the application to make your funding compatible or in compliant with the federal dollars. These are the supporting documents you need. You will need a resolution at some point, and I'm working with Mr. Platero and DOJ on the exact time when you need the chapter resolution. Tom, I don't know if it's during the submission of the FRF application or if it's during the submission of the legislation. Could you, I don't want to be wrong, but I think you need to, we need to clarify when it is that the resolution is needed. So here's, oh, go ahead.
Dr. Yellerman, that was covered during the Budget and Finance Committee meeting last week on Tuesday.
Mr. Rodas was on the call, and he's saying that since it's incorporated underneath 3 on the form, that it has to have the resolution attached to it in order for finance to, or not finance, in order for DOJ to complete the eligibility determination. And that was the information that Mr. Rodas provided during Budget and Finance last week.
Okay. I don't know how to go back. How do you go back? How do I go back to the previous screen? Okay, well, I don't know how to go back. But anyway, so there you have it. You have to have your chapter resolution when you submit this application. So, there's another question here. There's a kind of a comment made to everybody here. To Mr. Curley, yes, there can be some project managers hired, but also we at the DCD, we're also trying to hire project managers for the chapter projects as well. And we're also trying to hire project managers or management for these large projects too. But it is at your discretion, so to speak, to hire an individual, probably mainly if you're a certified chapter, but it is, but remember, Dellard, it has to go through the DOJ review. So make sure that everything, every use of the dollar goes through the DOJ review. This is the application process. Was there a comment? This is the application process for certified chapters. The application is 2 pages, and chapters have been submitting these. Again, these go to the FRF office. These are the areas where the chapter officials sign off. And then here's what the actual, here's our webpage that we do have dedicated to the application, and it's under BFS 31-21 on the DCD webpage. This is really important right here. I recommend that you put this on your cell phone screensaver. This is a real helpful flow chart of everything we just explained. So you start from your 8.8, you submit your applications to DOJ. DOJ has to review it here. They determine if it's eligible. If it's eligible, yes, then you prepare the comprehensive list of the projects. You submit the comprehensive list to the FRF office, and then they help prepare it for the legislative process. And then you begin working with the OLC office, Office of Legislative Counsel, and then it gets drafted for the legislation. And so that's really what our goal is here. So our goal with the chapters, DCD, FRF office, our goal is to put the plan together so your council delegate can take it across the finish line. And the end goal here is to get it signed by president and then implement it. So, Shanant, I'll go ahead and end there. I know I've presented this before, and I hope it gets easier each time we review it. So, Shana, any questions or anything that I can help answer?
Chair, I have a question. This is Darlene.
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay, per Ms. Yellowman, I put my question on the chat. Basically, you mentioned earlier, my question is on the equal distribution. I know that we haven't discussed that within our N.O.S.T region. Could you elaborate more on that, the possibility of doing that? And will we need a chapter resolution to do that, or is it just at N.O.S.T where we make those decisions and perhaps agreements? Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Pino. The choice is really up to the council delegate. And Nikkei, FRF, and DCD, we ultimately can't tell you what to put or how to use the 8.8, but we can tell you how to do it. So here on the screen is kind of a flow chart of what will need to happen, but you guys decide how to use and how and what the 8.8 will be used for. And then your council delegate ultimately selects either the project or the formula for that 8.8 million. You know, I'm seeing it done differently in each delegate region. And I'm really seeing I went to the Nahazat on Friday, Delegate Rick Nez. It was really nice to see them work together and to see them decide on how they were going to use the 8.8 million. And they worked together. It was really neat to see those chapter officials come together and say, this is how we're going to do it. And the council delegate Rick Nez, you know, they determined right there how they were going to work together. And that was neat to see. So I really encourage all the chapter officials and to come together. And you know, you have to support your council delegate too through this process. He's not finished. Your council delegate needs to finish putting the resolution together and then taking it before the council and then having president sign it. So your council delegate needs support to finish that too. So we'll continue to provide the best information we can to help you put the expenditure plan together. I just now realized this is a N.O.S.T meeting, so good morning to everybody that's on the call. And I think maybe I was hearing Mr. Small Canyon's voice, so I apologize for not properly introducing myself and saying good morning to everybody. But Nana.
Yant Ebony, can I say something? This is Jean Holiday.
Oh, Sue, you have the floor.
Yant Anos Koshnat Ani, Kwaidaisinos Ido participating. Dr. Yellowman, this question is for you, and also I'll make a comment. This you stated was federal money, and to me it should be equal distributed to each chapter. And also we only have one CSC working on it too. So, and then the timeline is also September 30th, 2024. Yeah, is that correct?
Yes, 2024 to encumber the funds and submit for the expenditure plan. So if additional technical assistance is needed to help the CSC, then we work with Ms. Jim Martin and probably Mr. Sosi Calvin to assist on any additional technical assistance, and the FRF office. If it's dealing with the applications, I'm not trying to volunteer the FRF office, but you know, we'll try our best from DCD and from the FRF office to offer technical support to the CSC. But if there's more internal need, then I'll work with Ms. Jim Martin to help get the chapter through this process.
Shema, this is
Thank
Rose.
you.
I have a question, Shema. This is Rose Vulcan. Through the grapevine, I heard bedroom additions they're being constructed in New Mexico. Is that already in progress or is that rumors?
We have been working with NECA with the defunded, I don't know if it's defunded CARES, it's not defunded CARES, but we worked with NECA last year on the CARES Act funds and then with some of the citizen funds. But under this, we worked with NECA last year on citizen and CARES Act funds to complete the bathroom additions last year. They might have done some more bathrooms earlier this year. But as far as the funds for this legislation, no projects or no implementation has started yet. So remember the other sections I was referring to, there's 14 sections. Those other sections, the bathroom addition, we haven't gone into construction yet. There will be a mandatory bathroom addition meeting with our bathroom addition team and all the chapters. So we'll be working with the SPPS staff to get that information out. We did have a mandatory bathroom addition meeting 2 years ago with the CARES Act bathrooms. So we'll be doing something very similar to that. So I don't know, that might be Janin news. Mr. Rowland, I don't know, but no bathrooms yet under this legislation.
Chair, this is Darlene again. Thank you.
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Yellowman. I'm kind of here, we're not this on chapter, we're non-certified. Did the 8.8 million equal distribution go we know that the other two, Chanto and Tapikin, Idia certified, Idia, they're free to move around with things and even to the selecting projects and hiring. Hideya, the ones that are non-certified in DCD, we work closely with your department. To have the delegate to have, it sounded like the way I understood it was our delegate has the final say so whether it's going to be an equal distribution. My concern is chapter back when our CSC submitted the projects for ARPA to DCD portal. There were several other which I emailed to Shayla and with your department. And at our last meeting at the Twin Arrows, it was also mentioned. Shayla and Junon, could you explain, that you were going to, your department is working closely with NTUA to see with some of these projects. In Hiki, it's mainly power line extension and rest bathroom addition. Those project was from CARES. But on it's a continuation. I know that we're working on the ARPA funds. That once you get a final say-so from the final wording from NTUA to see if their department, their funding will cover the our extension power line and the bathroom addition. And cover it later. That means that our notice on chapter is we don't have any more. I mean, we have more projects. It just wasn't submitted at the time of the portal. But as I said, that you have the information. Your department has information. I sent that off last week. So that's my concern. Hiki ayu apa ohnalen di equal distribution ko ayu anaha hashin tsubat do projects adon happy ni a continuation be baya del tiba bandahit ashin hayat insaye. Okay, that's my concern, Dr. Yellowman, that halit elan soya binina not this kid. Thank you.
They want to respond to that, Dr. Curley,
She might be on the Nabi call on that resolution that the other is being introduced. Shakunine, so.
Oh, I'm right here. It's really talking. Sorry, my phone was on mute. But can someone bring up that listing? That was for Herman Daniels. Maybe that was Earl. I don't know who's. Maybe Mr. Curley is monitoring the screen.
Yes, it's Mr. Curley.
Okay. So, Shana, Mr. Daniels, I want to share with you that Mr. Curley, can you go down towards the bathroom addition? So Mr. Potero's on the line. Mr. Council Delegate Herman Daniels, I learned that if your bathroom addition 6.2 million, you can't take that 6.2 million outside of the 2.15 eligibility criteria over here. You see on the left, this 2.5 eligibility criteria. You can't take it, you can't take this money and put it over up here at cistern or septic at 1.5. But you may be able to move this 6.2 within the 2.1 category, because you might have a chapter that did not submit something last year. Or Mr. Platero, did that make sense? Is there another way we can explain it?
Dr. Yellowman, if I may.
Go ahead.
You can move funds within the projects, but if you're going to add to it, you can't. I believe that's what she's saying, because a lot of these estimates were done before the prices went up. So you are allowed to move it within those. We did run a request for change similar to that from Water Development. And the feedback that we got from legal was you don't need to go back through the process. So as long as it's already in the list, you're okay moving money within those projects. As long as they're in the same eligibility category.
Mr. Council Delegate Herman Daniels, does that make sense? I think there's some flexibility to kind of accommodate some things that may not have been, that may have been not fully achieved during the submission of the DCD portal. So that that's what we can try to work with right now, if I'm trying to understand the question. And then the 8.8 million, Mr. Potero, it can be added to previously enacted projects within this legislation.
That's correct, Dr. Yellowman.
Okay. Shana, does that make sense?
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. Platero, I'm looking at the 6.2 million bathroom additions. So I know that the 2.1, Nikki, with the bathroom additions, 6.2 million. We can't move that to other categories.
You can't move it to 3.12 or 5.12, but you can move it within housing for 24. You can move it within the 2.15.
Okay.
So the also, it's, if you look at the 3.12s, you can move some of these things inside the electric connection within its own eligibility DOJ number.
So you're saying that the Topican as a category 3.12, Topican inscription house, Delaware extension, if we don't want to utilize the $166,000, we can move it to another project within, as long as it stays within the 3.12 category, correct?
Yeah, yes, but I don't wanna, Tom, the answer is yes, right? The answer is yes.
Yes, Dr. Yellowman, that's correct.
Okay, and that's the same thing for all the other categories, correct? So like 5.15, let's say, well, Jason doesn't utilize the 660,000, we can move that to Navajo Mountain.
Yeah, okay, so for example, 3.12, you might not have Navajo Mountain or Jato and Shanto, you might not have any customers that are that you're considering for solar. So that 250,000 technically can go to something, it can go to additional house wiring at 941,000, but it has to stay within the 3.2. So you might have a chapter that's saying, Shanatani, Delegate Herman Daniels, we need more in house wiring. Maybe that solar can be considered for house wiring. That's just an example, but it can stay within the eligibility number.
Shema, hold on, the equal distribution. So you notice that 3.12 Shanto solar did with Kai's stuff. So that if you add up the total, does that mean we can divide it into 48?
Mr. Small Canyon, I kind of had some trouble hearing you, but are you asking if the 250,000 can be divided equally?
Under 3.1, the electric connection, the total on that. Since we're talking about equal distribution.
You mean the very top line, the 2,010,000?
Yeah,
I would recommend that you ask NTUA how they are determining that 2 million. So they may be doing electric connection. So in other words, what that's saying is for Delegate Herman Daniels chapters, Tabikin, Navajo Mountain, Aljeto, and Shanto, they're doing electric connections up to 2,010,000. But they still have to determine the schedule of value, the needs of those individual power line connections, and then again, how close they are to those service lines up to 2 million. You also have to ask NTUA the cost for any of those right away. What determines that 2 million? So I would defer that question to NTUA.
okay. Yeah, I see a problem there. As it is, it's hard to communicate with NTUA. So even through emails, we can't get hold of them. But thank you for the information, Shema. There's a question on the floor, right? Mr. Willis Brigade, President Willis Brigade.
Real quick, Mr. Small Canyon, NTUA has been, they now are kind of part of our road show. And they have been presenting information. So we'll work with Mr. Daniels, Herman Daniels, to help get NTUA scheduled here for this delegate region area, and then to work on being available for their presentation to you, and you can ask some of these questions to them. So I just want to add that.
Chair, this is Darlene.
There's a question on the floor here, Mr. Willis Brigade.
My understanding was, I thought we were going to talk about the 8 million, projected comments and that. But the thing is, the only thing on that is, I think that she's saying that 8 million, yeah, equal distribution, can we work with that money, go towards it's on the speakers, on that, I think I don't know. We haven't talked about the money yet. You know, so now
surprised now because all the partners have to consent to now, so now, of course, that's what it encourage everybody.
Okay. Another way that I wish we can develop that thinking for all the questions to go to Dr. Yellen. I do not know the spirit of terrorism. I don't believe the big data, so the interpretation and the TV case of content, the 34 billion or 8.8 billion same time, I don't know the data. Income distribution is equal to the from zero. I don't know that. It's equal to that. Since I've been really young to go to data, I know that some chapters, my chapters, they're really, I got to go, yes, let's take a read it. So please, the national, they are young, process kids, the very projects, master of the history, I don't know the data. You know that Shanto, 80 actual data, they have the whole tech, some dollars, I just talk about, some cases, talk about, I saw that the Zagre, I don't know the data. Other chapters, they have smaller projects. They have Ojato, they have the chapter house project. So I see. Yeah, I see. I met with Club C, Club G, see, yeah, that's the projects I see, hey, that's what I see. Projects lead and project ready, shovel ready projects, issue, people distribution, no, you know, tell you about access case, set that, you know, those are, it's not, case at all. So it is all this data. You should know that just for the machine, I want to hear from. So the data, 8 million each. I want to hear from chapters. Just as example, the data from all the 4 chapters. Legislation.
You have a question.
Thank you, Chair. The only concern I have is ideally, we should have it ready as an introduce the fall session. Competition. The chapters need to have all their stuff ready within probably a couple of weeks for their annuals to look at. They might not be. Start introduce to now. First, that'll take us to the book. We missed that, but we have to wait for special session. Next year. I think it's critical that we get together as soon as we can. And maybe we can impose a deadline saying that then we can impose it by this time, so that I can have it ready to have this new piece before the start of December. Once December comes around, we can't meet. Goes into the new year, March, so we won't lose September.
7 months. By but critical that we get together with our partners but I think this is being a situation. I don't think if there's a mandate saying that it has to be equally distributed, and I think it depends on who's ready. Well, now, then we're holding up the process and get it expedited to the council. So I think for the council, they don't have the product, they think we need to get it ready. They have to be eligible. Then, they need that 8 week and package it and then have a piece of the legislation for the council to do. So I think time is good and I don't know, still playing the deep stuff. I'll be now, go around and around. I think the other ones, I think they are it's entertaining. Whatever TAs. The 2 million might be for house. I know, you have house one project, I don't know all your house one. Your power line project, all the house one. You're not done with it. You check it 2 million. You don't want to do that. That's what it is. So I thought it was cheap, so I don't know, I might be wrong, but we need to get the package together so that we can have it as synergies of legislation. Preferably with the fall semester, fall session, which is October. They are the 8th on the check, so we can get them by the end of the year. We'll be in good shape to start looking at starting November.
Well, Cash, for your comments, giving us a broad view of what's ahead of us. I mean, time is of the essence in the industry. The other thing that's going to happen is with this election, if new people come in and people have to retrain them, what's on if you can see the whole broad picture of this whole thing, keep that in mind. We don't want to lose out on this. September 30th is the biggie, and 26 is all. Evan's okay, so they, hello, Jay. Yeah, before.
I should not have a So I mean, we need to really consider our time frame. Many over they get on the I see that certain students in the ship. I don't like schedule I got the set as of the show the car and have all get for in the other than the financial at the level of next time. Upon the opening capital something I got a state at the network at any thousand. Upon the big high of the yash more that they of Jaka Yaki, Bishop BD, donate each other each of Pena. But don't a case and then the I got the bishop the I got the daughter, not bishop of your a type of a non. Upon a job and not to face a talk to the I each time the ideas and then hiding the I got the class. I got faced with the job that idea and way back in the dishes. What list are they working with? Other housework like maybe electrification that maybe that $2.2 million by that. So HA is that car, for easy has your thousand or the Ashia, for it, which is I got which they can get not so significantly artificial class. So the bishop of a party fanatic has the Koshia in so I got this case. Though I mean in the now I because the local shade I speak out. Oh, then what is the other last one of the I mean, and so other that if I did not get it, not see that country, if I draw back or only the no draw, then Baba for art for show I can't send the art of that. The not the negative, John gave the Germany state that I can't even say that. If the thing that was at it, knowing that they got the ship question of the kitchen is that Angie that in our state of is probably now that the night that basically achieve the task. But for those one that means you have to keep the check. I don't need to be happy. Obviously, I hear what a short part of that and sit by I need to start that of a actually for that side, which over 10 is a lot of huge. In the case of a car, so I did not have that in they should go in check that. Though I think that one stop at the ID, so she had to go to short out so. And so, out of the battle, because ADNQ in the time that the time mission or tackle part that so. I don't need the title, I need any, I got that on sheet actually. So the one that down sheet was out and Apple. And so I don't able by next year, I need station now, we have patient I die not so the case, the AD type of large car, need the battle gets get the Shia take so Joe actually on that side of the don't I don't need to go back. I don't in the area ask it out that's the way so actually so I need to patient I need I think confession that patient had that he was keep so if they got or the job that I said now for the keep for I share up for and J will be keep the couple on that I not so the KD very or I got in 1,000 updates of quick and updates of she did she got I got the now for the kitchen and I got the best shot for I got they said that in the basic and judge that need on the way kitchen I did not that keep by a still got me that not about by that I stand I got vignette these are not so the case out of that not handle or j budgeting vacation Joe and I don't know if you I don't ask you about next out in need showing so a by six I additionally I gave the way I got 1,000 a shot portion for I got 1,000 I don't get should not actually get no I got that say that the correct education now for any of our different people over range
Chair, this is Darlene.
Okay, yes, Shane, for your comments on my new usage. No, with that, I give the floor to Mr. President. We'll take for them.
Oh, yeah, there are some sort I think president allocated a lot of things to that's not each other. That John Yama. I don't think the budget stuff we president. So if you put it on the moment now, oh, they got all with you say that you really does. And then so yeah. I don't know, it's not for that, so we has been COVID related, so yeah. I don't know if you're most of the related COVID or COVID other shit, so my yacht, so now. I you want the way it's not for that. I don't the party, 이제 대하다 category 또 이제 보다다 그래서 다야도 뭘 하다 그랬을 때 돈지 하다 그랬어요. So they category 도 하다 그래서 우리 지나다 그때 당시에 has no they working that so they would have the best email is 8.8 million to the target. It is also connected or page master. I don't know, I think that you know, in us, we are all in our moment, because sometimes I get it. Because it's about making the end of the process. So we got 8.8 million people now, they location that and that machine. But hasn't yet on it. I don't know that we saw it from the time. So we got to watch in the so now we get by population. That's how I want to distribute out with. But as you know, that's my concern. Oh, you get to chapter 8, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, Mr. President. I didn't identify about the hotel and that visa. If you look at this eligibility determination, it's eligible. AQG, there's N.O.S.T, not eligible for EFA. So all the projects are eligible for your information, Mr. President.
Chair, this is Darlene.
So, Madam Vice President, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. It looks like Pearl went off the air. Thank you, Quet, Shona host Agito, Mr. Sombrero, the look when you I done already. The Shanto, can you see the screen? I try to put. Okay. This is what was presented to us at Twin Arrows, Navajo Mountain, line 11, 12, 13, Quebec East. So, Navajo Mountain Rainbow Plateau, AJ power line extension at a bathroom addition, Nabaka in the Rainbow Plateau Mountain View, power line extension. Because there is amount 790,000 because like 6 million, like 1 million. Like I said earlier, that these 3 projects were resubmitted for ARPA. These 3 projects were already in progress with CARES. CARES based on the continuation, it continued on this particular, the 3 project continue on into ARPA. My question is that these amount of Pakaki, is that an accurate number? The way I understood that the Twin Arrows meeting was that I think Pearl, Ms. Yellowman had mentioned it at beginning of her presentation, that there is a sub agreement with NTUA. So since NTUA has this particular and Navajo Mountain, the 3 projects, they have this information already because they were already active with CARES. Depending on how much the exact amount, earmark aliago through NTUA without the DCD, our chapter 8 million. On NTUA if that's going to cover this 3 project, does that mean that Navajo Mountain, we won't have any other projects? That was my question. Although the equal distribution should this particular 3 project already taken care of by NTUA? Eta holiago. Eco distribution will allow Navajo Mountain to continue with Hashine equal distribution. As I said, there's 3 other projects that we had back last year in February, May, and our new elected officials. The 3 projects we added to it. ARPA portal beneath data. So this information, the 3 information that we have, the project, 8A portal beneath data, that was from our former CSC. Go nihin the newly elected nihin project kuneto listi nena ado bihistota. Could aim the ang whatever hanas to email anish into DCD. Although NTUA, so the last time we heard from NTUA, when I say we, it's through Kelvin Sosi, Clarice, myself, and NTUA, and it. They were working on giving us an updated which homes were already completed. I could, like someone was saying, that the listing of names, Mr. Willis, I believe, I thought that these names were, the clients' name were on the list, and how many of those clients had been, the request has been completed. This amount may be not the exact amount. So yeah, want this because I quite the equal distribution we notice on as a non-chapter, we still have some room to work with however much that will be given to us through equal distribution. That's my comment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your comments. Shabbat, you have the floor.
Thank you. Before CJN-29-22, Division of Community Development. We die for the data. The 3 projects that the Navajo Mountain has on the screen. ADP 19 million. Other delegate regions, that amount we gave was more. That the highest one was 119 million. What's our careful beyond that? Delegate Key Allen McGay. I don't know, 111 million for Key Allen McGay Jr. Mark Freeland, I understand what just became 19 million. They come careful beyond that. So 80 that's that. So the data community development, I think, electric connections to homes that were community development. So $88,000. So I don't know. Additionally, I wanted to hear from the chapters. It's not 8.8 million. There's two chapters, but no, 3 chapters. 4, not out of 4 chapters. But the data, that whole chapter on chapter president, I don't know the secretary treasurer, they're not on the line. But the data moving forward, chapters. They have their proposals ready to go. I don't know that time is of an essence. No, called each on daily I don't know if I need to set that kind of a deadline so a shall run to the so on first place the Hashin later Anana the later September maybe the middle of September as a deadline I don't know. Just as out of shape, but from there, I'll be working closely with the DCD, out of that, the FRF office, Mr. Platero, out of the legislative council, issuing the legislation had a dog meet, so any of them are not signals, but all should not put over, I'm just kidding. So, thank you. I don't appreciate that, Mr. Bell, that's you guys from ACP, they CPD, CHID, CHIP. Oh, yeah, thank you. So, thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Chair, this is Darlene again.
I'll do a recess at 12. Really. So, good. Yes, you have the floor, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Roland, Small Canyon. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. We all get our the same information through email to get we get invited. So my question now is that this hotel, Mr. Shanto, that's being built. Okay, the electrical. Okay, what is the possibility, Mr. Small Canyon? Not on to add our project to be part of that particular project, that hotel. What I'm asking, I'm saying because I'm the only one that's on here, and this is just what we would like to see is a transformer built on the Arizona side of where A&E Day ground is at, somewhere in that area, perhaps within that the warehouse. Transformer kind of what is the possibility, Mr. Small Canyon, to see if we could add that particular project, the transformer project, onto probably like piggy, whatever bank or whatever bag. In your proposal, is that a possibility, Mr. Small Canyon, and also Mr. Daniels? But I not
so Madam Vice President, I believe that project will require a lot of upgrade on the electrical side, even getting the water pot involved. So it's not shovel ready, but in the long run, I think the long range plan, that's a possibility, because on Shanto's side, we're talking about those transformers and possibly setting up more transformers to supply power to other chapters. And I mean, it's not going to happen real soon. We have to talk with NTUA and possibly RDC to make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Even the shovel ready, I understand all of that jazz as well, but I think it is mandatory, and it's really needed here in Navajo Mountain to have its own transformer built. Mr. Daniels issue Satoshi to thank you.
Yes, since we're talking about transformers, I believe our club C needs to meet together and talk about these things. But going back to the ARPA, should any other questions or comments? Oh, Mr. Curley, I think he has a question here, a comment. Okay, sorry.
I was just gonna say that NTUA, we talked to NTUA about several months ago, talking about the Longhouse Valley. They said that that one is in the process of being upgraded sometime in the future. Since NGS and Peabody went away, so they're planning on improving that substation that's in Longhouse Valley. I don't know when, but that's what NTUA said. Because we were trying to get our transfer station here. We need a three-phase power out here in order for that to happen. But with the hotel, gas station, it's not feasible for us to get that one up until that upgrade happens.
Thank you, Mr. Curley. Shada, do you have anything else?
Maybe we can get some time to certain data. One has cells.
How much time do you have?
11:42.
Yeah. Let's see, should I, which means certified chapter and non-certified chapter. Same application. Right? Piggyback on something like public kid or non-certified. Shema, Dr. Curley, there's a question on the floor. The applications that you mentioned, that's on here. It's okay. For Mr. Potero, these applications for ARPA. That doesn't discriminate between non-certified and certified chapters. Or Mr. Melkai, do you know? Thank you. So, we have 13 minutes to lunch. Early lunch. Want to go on break now? Let's see that. Okay. We'll take our lunch break recess for 15 minutes. We'll be back in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. 12, quarter after 12, start out of it. So enjoy your lunch. We'll be back in a few minutes here. Okay, we're back in session. Time is 12:01 p.m. I was asking a question. Chapters submitted their veteran edition list to CDC, DCD. Okay, Ashanto, we submitted our list. So I think based on most of it is based on RHS project numbers here. We submitted ours. We would have over today 170 something. So that right much. You have anything to bring up? Oh, bathroom additions there. Okay. And form, take this up and so be it. It's recorded, so we can, yeah. But, okay. Hey, Mr. Doug, I have for. Also do. Sure.
You want? U.S.T.
Yeah, I was gonna, I have a question.
Oh, you can just join the meeting and then make sure you're on mute. Then you can share your screen. Yes. There you are.
Oh, we got it.
Yep.
You guys see, okay. Good afternoon. Today, Patrick Dalia, Chief, Community House District for the department manager for the department. I oversee 3 offices. Housing improvement program, the ICG program, shift administration. So I oversee civil staff, my department. So don't mention it, come on. DCD was given some money which under CJN-29-22 for the amount of $2 million new construction. This legislation to that, we had $40 million to new construction and $10 million to renovation. That legislation, if it moved on, we get passed under the last legislation, 86-22, it's where we got the funding for new housing construction under the FRF ARPA funds. So, ADEA, I'm going to go ahead and talk on that here a little bit. We're here and also so joining in virtual or all. So. This is the confirmation from the Department of Justice for our expenditure plan. 50 million, they deemed this eligible. So this is under 2.16 long-term housing security, new home construction. And will be administered by Community Housing Infrastructure Department. This is our expenditure plan. Appendix A. This document was required to submit, completed and submitted to DOJ along with a budget form. So we attached those and submitted this to DOJ back on April 11, 2022. So in this expenditure plan, we have 50 million construct new housing and or purchase modular homes to assist number of families throughout the renovation. Providing stable housing for those in need will help eliminate the spread of COVID-19 among families living in multi-generational homes, provide new homes for homeless families and individuals, which will provide sanitary infrastructure, which is water, wastewater, electricity to help combat COVID-19 even yet. So we developed this plan here, included, and right now, as far as housing, real quickly here, DCD will work with each 24 delegates regional plan to identify the Section 10 housing plan implementation. Selection process should be region specific. Screen housing applications, home assessments, determine size of home, create construction contracts, start construction date, project completion and closeout. New home construction for applicants will
complete home site lease or residential lease, depending on which piece of the client's living area. It could be here in Arizona, trust land. It could be in Eastern Navajo Nation with multi land status. They're working with chapters to assist applicants to complete their home site lease and residential lease. CHID will have staff work with chapters and the homeowners on home site lease. So we have a little application process. Applications from 110 chapters will complete with complete home site lease, residential lease, and available infrastructure. So this means that CHID will work with the chapters to identify homes, community members in the chapter communities that are in higher need of new home. We will contact the chapter, notify them, and let you know when the application, housing application will be released. And so right now we have a draft housing application portal. We're close to finalizing that, hopefully by the end of this week or next week. Available infrastructure. We would like to have infrastructure there readily available for these clients, whether they're already existing, but their homes are so dilapidated, just unfeasible and not standard to live in. Or if it's going to be a new home site for the client, new location, that their infrastructure be nearby. Hoping that we could do a service line drop or a couple feet of water line extension to the home. The homes will have a 5 feet stub out. And then the electricity, they should have their service pole or their meter box literally installed. Meter loop with their weatherhead installed and ready for connection. So we will work closely with N.O.S.T as a partner in scheduling and preparing that these utilities be available. So I have contacted N.O.S.T a few weeks ago and notified them that we have some homes that will be coming in, modular homes. This is for BIA ARPA. EAS, I think this is not FRF. BIA ARPA, we're ready to start purchasing homes, modular homes for that from the 9.9 million. And we've had a list of applicants. We started out with about 86 applicants. So right now we're down to, I believe, around 60. Some homes, some clients have already received their own home. Some of them have moved, some of them have gone on, passed on. So I guess increase in the number of homes. So that's where we're at right now. BIA ARPA, new construction or new modular homes. So we're taking that route just because of the timeline. I won't have much time, but we'll only give up to 2024, I believe, 2024. If as many homes as we can, to the people throughout the knowledge, not just certain areas. So the KIT housing improvement program will be working with chapters, communicating with chapters on this. Say for land, home site clearance. City chapters can assist with grading the area if they can, and then access to the location, making sure that access road to the home site lease there is possible. So these homes can get their undamaged. Then the next step is select or coordinate home assessments, determine number of household and size of homes. So based on the applications, we'll work with our personnel, conduct assessments based on the application, how many households, what they have on their application. And if it requires them to have a 1, 2, 3 bedroom, or possibly 4, that's the permission we're gonna have to make when we're doing home assessments. Select general contractors and develop 3-year construction contracts with cost estimate. So next thing we'll be doing is right now we need to, I'm drafting up a something like an RFP for general contractors to work for 3 years. And so I'm working with other personnel, this contract, and hopefully we'll get this finalized soon, hopefully by the end of this week or next week. I have a draft form right now. So once we get that in place, we'll issue a notice to proceed for construction to start. So all construction documents, necessary documents are in place. Utilize housing improvement program, housing policy, floor plans, materials. It already has a mechanism going, so we're going to utilize what they have. Extracted some language from the policy, from their application. We're going to utilize their existing floor plans. And with professional services, we're planning on taking professional services through the Division of Community Development. And so with some of the funds, out of this 50 million also to bring cost of be on professional services that may upgrade floor plans to bring them to code. And then modifications, additional specifications, accessible, ADA compliance for those sites that we need, or handicap accessibility inside the home, let's say the bathroom. Consider those. And then construction will begin. We'll implement that, do pre-construction meeting. We'll start monitoring. We'll administer these from the CHIP office. With personal staff, we're building our capacity at my department to help monitor and manage the funding, especially the accounting portion, just to meet our requirements, and then construction completion. So that there may be a phase, depending on how many homes we get. And in the meantime, we'll be working with chapters to continue assisting with home site lease and residential lease while construction is also going on. So these will all be kind of going in one direction, parallel to each other. We'll do final closeout reports when the constructions are complete for section or for each home. Each home will be documented and have it. So it will kind of repeat itself here, as you see on the right column. If there's savings, chapter fund, it's 50 million. So our plan is to distribute this 50 million equally among 110 chapters. So if you do the math, we have 4 million set aside for contractual services, for professional services, or contractors and subcontractors. So that leaves 46 million for housing. Each 110 chapters, so if you do the math, it's a little over 400,000. So depending on the size of the home, you know, the cost and the location, it all depends on contractors will most likely consider delivery material. Some materials have increased, and some of them have decreased. That's what I noticed. The regular plywood or your OSP board has come down. I don't know how it is out here, Western Flagstaff or Page, but I know Gallup and Farmington also have come down quite a bit, but it's only certain size too. So it all depends. So inflation is what we're considering. So I know these contractors will put that in their cost estimates. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Pre-COVID, 1 bedroom under a house improvement program, the workforce, and they put up their own, they create their own materialist, solicit for quotation. So for 1 bedroom at that time, the total was 105,000 to 110,000. 2 bedroom was around 110 to 115. And then 3 bedroom was around 120 to 130. So now they noticed an increase in also personnel. You all know fringe benefits have increased to 2%. So that's quite a bit. That's also something we have to consider. And then right now we want to expand internal capacity with the ECD department. As I mentioned, getting additional program project managers, accountants, looking at even eligibility technicians to work with clients on applications. Then additional staff to go through applications, intakes and screening. Second, solicit, recruit, and utilize priority 1 general contractor, subcontractors for struggling roles. 3, partner and leverage with other resources. Open Land Commission, veterans, possibly the change in having resources that we can use in TOA. So those will most likely you know, assist us with this huge project that we're taking on. In Eastern, and we have utility companies also. We have N.O.S.T and provide, you know, most likely to be working with as far as utilities go. Complete housing projects within 3 years. That's the plan. So we'll have several contractors, subcontractors doing work throughout the nation, Western, Central, maybe Northern, and Eastern. So we need to get on these as soon as possible. And so our flow chart here, just our CHIT application checklist, we'll develop forms for those. We have draft forms for those already. Field assessments, develop forms, determinations of house size, prioritized applications by assessments, prioritized applications by home site lease, residential lease, also utility, infrastructure, water, electricity, right-of-way, home site, residential lease. Right-of-way, we may consider that depending on how far utility is to the new home. And then construction of consultants. Does that include sewer?
Is that?
Yeah, there'll be wastewater, sewer, septic, leach field. I don't know, depending on what HUA recommends, some of them may consider lagoons. Next one, research and select general contractors and subcontractors. Then our reporting tools, using technology, Google Earth Maps, online reporting softwares. Eligibility criteria, member federally recognized tribe, registered voter, chapter voter, reside in an approved tribal service area with the on-site residential lease. PEP, program assessment to identify your present housing is substandard. So we'll be reaching out again, like we said, to chapters to help us out. Using our staff, locating area, the home site, and so forth. You meet home ownership requirements for assistance needed. Homeowner education. So once the home is built, we like to educate homeowners. It's first needed just so our home lasts longer. A lot of vandalism, just non-care, a lot of their appliances or their plumbing facilities. So those we want to educate them and keep them just up to date on some of the maintenance. So this is a sample housing form that I'm working on. It's a little longer, a few more pages of this, but I just took a screenshot to show the first page. So we'll be giving this to the chapter. After the chapter, work with chapter community members. Like I said, who they feel is in need of a new home. Chapters know that people a lot more than we do. So we'd like to give that opportunity for the chapters to voice, let us know which homes we need. We thought about setting up this portal. It's open for if we do that, we're going to see tremendous amount of applications coming. That's going to delay the application screening and assessment. So we're going to be sitting there day and night, probably sitting through these applications and trying to decide on which homes we're going to serve. So we like to help let the chapters know that we want their assistance on this application process. So 110, right there, looking at the delegates, for delegate regions. So this is the direction we're going to take with the 50 million. And then, what's it have? Well, he did a report. I think he took off. He knew he was going to be up next. That's the flag. But anyway, we're kind of overseeing, well, we are overseeing 15.5 million also capital language. That was also given to the division. BCD in shape for 5 million. So I understand. I know he's already told you that his direction with the 15.5 is modular homes. I'm also working with him with the same vendor that we're using for the EIA modular homes. So we have the contacts, introductions made. So Black is working with BCD on modular homes for 15.5 million. Is FA and the NPL. So these chapters here in this area. These are some of the eligibility home site lease chapters through chapter resolution. We'll select the beneficiaries for the project. Registered voters, applicants must certify that they are either a second or third generation family member or an original relocatee. The eligibility criteria will
be reviewed and approved by the resolution. And this is a list of Mr. Roberts' office gave us for the chapters and from the different areas. So, no names. He was sending me over the names for these chapters. And so we need to make sure we're serving. We're not duplicating services on assistance. So these are the 9 chapters. This is the MPO. So the 13 chapters there. So this is being provided, and we're working with him on providing the additional information. And this is this land stats that we received eastern area. It's going to be a lot of work, especially in that area. Over 23 different types of land statuses there. Now we'll got mostly Tucson, Arizona, Mexico. So just information I want to share with you. We got this information here from land administration. So along number 1, number 2, number 3. We're also setting these. We're looking at different help to consultants to help us work with the chapters and the community members, the homes like this, the residential, try to get them cleared through completion. I think a lot of the delay as far as home sites that I'm hearing is cost to meet some of these homeowners that work for studies and surveys, and even a legal survey. So those costs, understanding land administration could do with the short staff with the backlog. So in order for these homeowners to get their home site leases as soon as possible, there's consultants out there that do charge and they can work with the homeowners and the chapters and our other things. So I believe that's it for my application as far as housing goes. So we are serving scattered homes. We leave the cluster homes up to the industry. But there are more people out there that in the rural areas that do need a new home, especially on their home sites. Some are so bad, dilapidated, some use natural stone footing. You can't renovate those. It's just not safe. So certain type of homes that we can renovate, just depending on assessments too. So that's also under my department with community housing infrastructure administration, looking at getting additional funds since we didn't get any under this resolution. There's some money that we're looking at getting. Hopefully we'll get that through FY23 comprehensive budget. Get that approved. We can assist more families out there with emergency repairs, looking at a lot of roofing repairs, get a lot of those, and then infrastructure, service line extensions, videos, house line, looking at getting an electrician, a licensed electrician. That's very, very needed, and getting our license on board. So I'm going to have to hire those, have them start by October 1st. Right now, my department, my budget is very limited this past fiscal year. So much funding. I have to use my staff to
into my housing. So they protect me. So, well, I get a lot of requests to my office for immediate assistance, but, you know, and we're trying to get to all these people as quickly as possible. So, but with that, everyone, thank you for allowing me to present and ARPA fund. So, open to questions or any comments. We have a question. Shall we,
Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah, then, no, between 90, all, we're just sitting here holding our breaths, I think, as administrative. I go through the chapter as the manager, here, my officials are here. It lists quite confidential, you don't look at the insurance content. But there's some, there's a plan that should change. I'm gonna say what my cousin said. Anyway, Dita Orchard on it down when it was first brought out on ARPA and as Ms. Mrs. Yellowman was saying earlier, our road show, when they first came out with the president, at that time, they were saying that the HIP program, they're already selected, they're just going to work with the HIP offices. So we kind of just threw it aside, okay, that's taken care of. They made the selections for it. And then today you give the presentation that will be possible to submit people's applications. I'm just wondering if you guys still have the weatherization program, because that really helped people. Your office came out and left applications and people picked them up and they submitted back. They got weatherization and most of them were a certain amount. That really helped people. And but EDE, the application portal is going to be available next month.
yeah, we're hoping early part of this month.
So everything has to be in order by next year, 2024, 924 also.
Yeah.
There, submitted, and then how will we know if they've been approved? Because even when we apply for grants through CDBG, we don't know if we are approved or not. We don't get responses back. I mean, we applied for grants and the only information that was given back to us was you are one of 4 and didn't really go anywhere from there. So, but somehow our power line got covered, which we're very thankful for. Chancery South Power Line, and it's almost completed. But I want to thank you for this presentation and for the information you shared with us, and especially for our new housing for housing assistance. And I believe every chapter has 2. I think it's limited to 2 per chapter. That's what I'm.
Yes, our application.
Yeah, for housing, 2 houses per chapter, that's 46 million. But I'm just dividing by 110.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you for your
Yeah.
question. As far as the HIP program, AS, the ARPA funds, they have their own regulations, federal regulations. So they're kind of taking care of that funding with their staff. The corporate finance, the main central staff is the corporate finance, and their program manager is Rita Brigade. So she has staff there, administrator, construction crew, estimated plan. And then as far as weatherization, we did have weatherization years ago, but that phased out because of funding.
a lot of funds coming in from EPA, mainly EPA. Just that program phased out, we under EPA, so we may have to look at other additional sources for weatherization. I know that was a huge project. With this funding that I'm talking about within my budget, we can hopefully, I'm kind of going in that direction. With weatherization, weatherize the home, and then along with repairs, renovation. And so, and ICBG, we were talking about Shantou. Shantou was one of the big projects that was included in the ICBG application for FY21. But that one didn't go our way. It wasn't funded. It goes by point systems. So we compete with over 178 chapters, 178 tribes within the Southwest region. So the minimum cutoff for points was 75. So apparently, just by them evaluating, we didn't get that many points for these applications. So there was a lot of changes every year. Last year it was 4 million. Then now this year's not that. With changes in criteria and the determining factors. So those points fluctuate every year. So either our capacity is at 30 points, which is on the highest out of five factors. Capacity is the main key factor in the application. We're looking at the evaluation overall, see if we can have these projects. So that's your questions. So thank you. Any other questions?
So, I was looking at the home sites, and I know the process takes a long time. I wonder if it's going to be expedited from day one for this purpose.
We would like to, I guess, at the beginning, when we're going to send out the applications, have the chapters kind of take the lead as far as working with community members, which ones would need to be, I guess, determined and selected. As first for home site lease, see if we have home site lease. For IDA, we need to work together and communicate. Like I mentioned, we're trying to get a consultant on board, a writer consultant who has knowledge in home site lease preparation and completion. And then as far as application goes, we're thinking maybe allowing chapters up to maybe 10 applications, 10 applicants per chapter. That way we can screen each one of those 10 and conduct assessments, and then we'll determine which client will be awarded, will be selected with your help based on the assessment. So we're not going to do all the decisions. We'll let the other chapters involved in the selection. So and then we have 3, 4 homes, 1 bedroom. They all require 1 bedroom. We can see how much based off of contractors processing. We like to have that fixed costs with no fluctuations, no changes, and just have the contractors for us like that. Or if it has to come down to possibly even purchasing modular homes, that's another route we can take. I'm not as strong as a regular stick-built home, but just depending on how the homeowner takes care of his modular homes, they can last long. So that's where our education comes in. And right now, just looking at the costs, of course, they're a lot less than a stick-built home. Stick-built home, we're looking at around maybe 100 and right about 110 to 115,000. For a modular, we got an estimate for one bedroom, one bath, 90, over 2,000. So if we go that route, we can purchase more modular homes with the amount of money the chapter's getting. Maybe possibly even serve up to 4 per chapter. We will stick build contractor, we will go to.
So age won't matter.
No, just the neediest of the needy.
The reason why I'm saying age is, there's a lot of these homes are built for elderlies, and we pass through like in 10 years, and then it just sits there, and nobody wants to move in.
That's part of our system. Age, we don't want to leave anyone out just to say, just around us. We worry about our elders, make sure that they have a home to live in. Maybe there's another solution to getting that taken care of. Besides going with a big, huge constructed home or modular home. We have possibly an opportunity to build something at the less price, structurally sound home that they could use. But younger generation, they have 4, 5, family members. 6, more convenient and something that they'll use.
I don't want to. I mean, somebody people say, well, social security's against senior citizens on Facebook.
Yeah. Get their feedback in chat. Honestly, I don't have social media. I don't have Facebook, but my family tells me, "Why don't you get on?" Rather stay on. So all this whole time, all I have is email and message.
Yeah.
So I'm like that.
Shut it.
Over here.
Friday, and I attended a veterans meeting, veterans organization. There, the report was on these modular homes, and they were asking, what's the difference between the modular home and a mobile home? Because if you apply saying you live in a mobile home, you're already considered homeless. Because the home can leave anytime. That was the explanation that I was given. So, modular home, no,
To me, modular homes are more home looking. They're table texture, drywall. Opposed to a mobile home, you have thinner panels, thinner walls. Some of them only have a 2x4 exterior mobile homes, and they're not really set on permanent foundation modular homes. So,
So a mobile home is built to HUD standards. Manufactured home is higher. Currently, mobile homes are built to HUD standards and higher standards. So that was the explanation that
we work with the vendors on the modular homes. We give them our specifications that we need here. We'll work for our client here in our area. as opposed to those that get more homes on the fields, the weather requirements different. So we gave them the specifications that we wanted, so we got it on the plan. So we were willing and we were able to accommodate those great specifications, which did.
So give that 4x8 for exterior for higher factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll have 2x6 walls, and we're looking at 2x3. Some of them were 2x3 interior walls, but we'll have thicker sheetrock and thicker texture. It just we took the tour of those, and they actually look nice. Again, it just all depends on how it's taken care of and the space that we're and I mean, Russell smoking, I don't know, so. But I try to. That's the best way to get our house chapters, subsidy and chapters. Even a that way, you will be able to do something. I can step forward and take easy. Jamie. That's what I'm thinking. That was how they have one. Yeah, the recommendation, the comment. Yeah.
What if your firm do the service?
Yeah, so when the applications sent back to the client, they'll have, we should be telling the clients to submit those and attach those websites. I've already received some in my office because of CARES Act funding. People, communities started to hear about CARES Act money coming in, there's possibly housing. So they started submitting my renovation restoration application to my office. Check mark, they check mark the whole box with new home. So they modified my application now, so we got a bunch of those, and we attach a lot of the home site lease. So, you know, we can work with the chapter and work with the homeowners on home site lease, working with also the land department. And I mentioned we're getting our library consultant on board soon. Next month. Just need to work out the contract details. That individual will be responsible for the home site lease for us. So contacting chapters, schedules, time. So forth. That includes everything, and will include the labor costs, materials, even delivery. And the contractor has their own, they'll include that too. This hospital will maybe first of all hire, because they need the manpower, their equipment, heavy equipment. So that will include with HIT, they have all that. Any other questions or comments? This is only my third presentation right now, so within or to do additional. Then one Eastern the other day, two here, so making my rounds, my road shows. But I have my contact information on here. Although I have any questions, I'm available. Give me a call, email. Work with the chapters. Thank you again, and glad to be here. Got my notice last night, so we need to be out there. So, all right. I hope there's the drive. Keep on the mountain.
Well, thank you for coming out, even in spite of the short notice.
But it's like that nowadays. It's very one, moments notice. Have to be at a meeting or present. Like now, we're possibly doing our budget hearings too. Oversight. So this is
Usually we hear you on the possibility, it's a meeting.
Yeah.
No, we can connect your faces.
Well, now I figure I come out here and show my face.
Another day that I will, China, struggle,
Oh, I know, we're able to.
What announcement talking about CPG, what they call the NOFO was issued back on November, beginning of August for 5 million. So we did a public hearing 2 weeks ago, we sent out an invite to all the chapters and then the handouts. So if you need a copy of the handouts, it's on the ECE website for FY22. We're hoping to get a lot of proposals this year. Last year, we had to ask for projects. We only received 2 proposals last year. One from Sean. The other ones, we had to ask them to give us some projects. But this year, we need to get more. So just have any questions? Again, my information's on here. CDBG staff on our office. And that's a proposal. Proposal assistance. What are the questions? CHIP is the umbrella of the department. Underneath this CPG can get share. I'll receive all 3. So right now, I'm looking at getting the position to go for CPG supervisor. Over that right now, I'm still overseeing CPG.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. something legit. Who else is there? Robert, it's Chanel, Dr. Pearl, Commander, do you have any other information that you want to share with us? Okay, Mr. President, from Victor Mostardo, Sadiq Kimball. Okay, N.O.S.T in Mostar.
I'm still here. This is Darlene.
We'll have a, we'll have a discussion about the chapters. And we'll try to maybe put in like good hour, see what we come up with. You have anything, Chuck? Or planning zone side? Look, my name is Mr. President from the Shelter. Okay. It's a bit convention. Anything, anything from level now, that's on that chapter.
With regards to today's meeting?
Yes.
No, just what my comments and the questions that I've shared. This is Darlene, so that's basically about it. And then if there's any further, well, actually, what I'm doing right now is I'm communicating directly with DCD to try and get a final, somewhat inaccurate updates, and then we'll keep moving forward with that information. I do have many concerns, but I'm the only one that's talking, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Okay. I think Maria is on there. And one thing discuss that brought us to the deadline for we discussed on the 16th. So that's stuff that we're so I don't know if that's what
So Chappelle's deadline for submitting this is September 16th.
Yes, next month, the 16th. This is deadline.
Yes, for us, where we're at.
question will be, is that going to be, will we make a final determination when we're in equal distribution? Or we're gonna do by population, or something can get all the money?
You get all the money, so you gotta help it. So these chapters.
I think it's construction ready. Yeah.
So make a note of it, construction ready.
Chair, this is Darlene.
Yes, yeah,
Uh,
Vice President.
Yes, is Mr. Willis still there from Ojibwa?
Yes, here.
Oh, yeah, I know that we kind of mentioned the equal distribution. I didn't really feel, it felt like we didn't really get a if that's still a possibility. And it sounded like Miss Jean Holiday, she made a comment to that equal distribution as well. So hopefully maybe we will still have that discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say, so if this deadline is to provide all construction-ready projects at that time, then that's when we decide on what that's, when it's done, is that right?
Yes.
For it to go on
Oh, for
the
it.
agenda, yeah, for the council full session.
So, Mr. President.
The reason why I said that, much reality is, what if, like right now, I think there's, thinking that the distribution. We have a project, we moment that. We attend,
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that the project, if it goes towards the project, it has to be project ready, shovel ready. So if you submit like a new project, then it has to go through council. All that approval, isn't it, Robert? Yeah. If you submit it.
no, what I'm saying is that, that's right, you got, turning the projects, that's what he wants to do now. So leave the projects in, and then, the turns around, let's say we'll bring out like $2 million. Let's say, I want my chapter, my project. And then the test where the population. Let's say that my chapter would cost $2 million, and then now, along with the population, I have to change the whole thing around. Or like something else that's I gotta redo my whole thing. That's recent.
Sure. So my understanding is there's really no way that it's an equal distribution. Because the process is no matter if you have exactly 2 million numbers with the projects that you're going to work on and submit, it still has to go through FRF and also ECD, and then it has to go to DOJ, and it has to be approved. So we were circumventing that on our side because we picked projects that were already approved by DOJ. And if you look at that list on Exhibit D in the CJN-29-22, right? 22, you'll
see like which projects are shovel ready. Those departments that have already been screened, have already been selected, but did not get funded. So if you look at that list, that'll probably help you narrow down what's shovel ready for you. That way you're not waiting for all these approvals, because that can take years. It may not even make it onto the list to get funded at all, so that money is just gonna be lost. So suggestion is that if you look at that list, find a project that's shovel ready, approved by all those departments, and put that on that.
Food stuff.
Did you find right now?
So, it's really.
Yeah, we're good.
You want to put the chapter? Want to do a CSC?
If you pay top dollar.
So who's the full session?
All sessions. 30, 70 for the 21st. So, if it doesn't get on there, we can always do a special session.
Oh. We're not good by the 16th, how long can we push it back?
Also, remember the elections, they can't vote on anything for a duration of time. Because of the election year. They're just pretty much gonna have their hands tied. Oh, wait, until the new delegates here.
Chair, this is Darlene.
Oh, there's a hand up before, Arlene, you had before.
Okay, thank you.
Arlene.
I have a question regarding the, I don't know if I misunderstood you, Roland, with regards to your, the hotel that's being built over there at the junction, Shantou Station. Did you say that that's, some of that is going to be, expense is going to be covered by ARPA?
Have you looked at the CJN-29-22? There are projects already identified by DOJ. So it's listed on there, it's considered as eligible.
Okay, so the Quilabahale,
It's been on there twice and, so.
what's the price tag?
If you look at your CJN-29-22, it's on there.
Exhibit P.
Exhibit P, go to ICE. So
Yeah, I don't have, at the moment, I'm not there yet. So what is just roughly a round off price tag? I'll look it up when I get a chance. But in the meantime,
thank you. Shut up, Arlene, did you have a question?
are you calling my name?
Hello? Arlene,
Arlene and
Miss Ed, Mrs. Ed.
Good afternoon, Yat E. Kudosha Huint Agi Shitsele. Aroshe Arlene Edian Shia. Shanto Economic Development Corporation. Je board member in Shledo. I currently serve as the board chair. Kokoegi Bandat Nigi. The numbers. I had a question on. I don't know if I can share my screen, but
Yes.
Am I able to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Excuse me for me going.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Oh.
Okay. Earlier, Shiaj Earl. Naidesh Kito. Deep Jada Yagi. Nikilchadot Ashnene. Equagi. Shanto SEDC. Ya Kodo. Chart Iki Ishla. Do by chapter. As Kotlako Nidadesh Kiligi Ya Shiaj Herman Daniels, Delegate Daniels. Equa Twin Arrows the Yah do the numbers iki Bishbanda seat in. Section 8 gonna under waste water and wastewater Bakagi line number there's no line number, but under the Shanto Bakagi right underneath it says Navajo Nation Cistern Septic Systems / projects for homes Kaibito 120,000 ADOTS United Kit do ADOTS not niche. So that 120,000 is not part of the N.O.S.T region. Echo D amount at the bottom, McGee $34,512, $512,280. So the 120,000 McGee Bishinates. Echo A Kaibato, but Kaigi that's not United Dash Kit. Auto could you go a Excel chart? The allocation chapter and project description column. There's 3 columns, total project amount per chapter. ARPA total project amount 34 million. Shared allocations, all 4 chapters. Each amount is right there. Auto broadband, housing, bathroom additions allocations. Ego, including the chapter region project allocations, 8.8 million bandat nigi. Hinetzago, 34 million. Auto per chapter, Shanto, Jige Yaad Ego, $4,546,253.33. Auto o J Toje $10,138,425.33. Zabikin $5,339,009. Auto Navajo Mountain $5,566,253.33. The odds go 34 million go not what a codi could in red decay at the end is questionable. Is it still going to Kaibito or is it coming back to the N.O.S.T region? Asian what alhajo no do ashin hit spreadsheet data a conde ya Shanto Economic Development Corporation. A what out a ya at the seat so do up hazina go dollar amount diki. A quan hitchedish often so yeah, I just wanted to share these figures with you. Equal distribution that nigo upon that. Koshant Torgi 4 million, 4.5 million, Oje Todo 10 million. Arot Apikin 5.34 million. Navajo Mountain 5.57 million. Ahot ao ya asa I don't she allocate at all ya ko the art echo. It's Adastogi. It doesn't include the 8.8 million Joe at the bond date. So I just wanted to put these numbers out there. You can correct me, but the question I had was if the 120,000 that's up in the kid not that's the N.O.S.T region, but Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Shada. That's a good question. Probably a good question to stop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know that. I don't know where you go. In this spreadsheet. We got 120,000, but behind this committee, I thought, yeah, behind this ADG, but could not read after this meeting, all email of Dr. Yellowman. Or Kaibito, that's a bit. If it's Kaibito, but maybe I'm dead, or it's about to be a big. If it's the N.O.S.T region, but yeah, what's it? So I'll reach out to Dr. Yellowman on that one. So DDG could I mean, by chapters, equal distribution, ego. So the way that national ego. If you look at this, if you look at this, even my own region, there's no safe or out there. I that here, there's not such thing at all. I don't know the data, other chapters. There's a project, so yeah, the Kaishin 8.8 million. So what about that case? What about so Juno Yamas, the data, the highest one is 10 million. 5 million, 5 million. So thank you. Thank you. 120 million each year could only email me the street. Thank you.
President Slow came to go here. Is anybody from PCD on the line? Pearl is on. Shema, Dr. Pearl Yellowman, are you with us? Can you hear us? Mr. Tom Patero, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm on the call.
Okay, I'd like to make a request. Pearl, that needed. I'd like to make a request to DCD that, this Excel spreadsheet, the one that you sent out in hard copy, can you send to the chapters as an Excel spreadsheet? Because it's easier to work with. You can filter it and you can do a lot of things rather than a hard copy.
Okay. Let me, I'll get the information. Who do I send it to?
The chapters, N.O.S.T chapters. Shanto,
Dealer.
Ojeto, and Sabine Kim. It's Excel spreadsheet. You can check forward, maybe.
Okay. I'll go on ahead and send it to Miss Elsie Small Canyon, and she can distribute it to your chapters.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
All right, sir.
And Mr. Patero, our discussion was Kaibito. It's Kaibito is not a part of the N.O.S.T chapters. Is that a typo, or was that included? Maybe the project was on the borderline or something?
No, it was a typo.
Okay. Thank you. Who's this going to? So that money is staying in N.O.S.T?
No, you will reduce it, your total amount by the amount that was put in the wrong column.
Okay.
So we get less than what's on there.
Good, thank you.
All right.
It's called Chile, Parliament?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the new chapter.
All right. Any other questions you have done before we close this meeting? Can we call this a work session rather than a meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next agenda, we want to make it a work session. Because if you say meeting, then that might require a form. Thank you, Ishna. Any other last moment questions? None more questions.
Do we have a meeting, or do we just make sure we get everything to the delegate list?
I should edit my notes. Our projects proposal.
Yes. Already.
Okay.
No more meetings after this?
So, yeah, can we put on the agenda for next meeting? Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and I'm going to close the meeting at Marietta. Marietta, that's the question. The end is very. consumer again, do you have a question? Before we start?
Roland,
Sir, thank you.
Roland, this is Darlene.
Marietta. Oh, it was answered. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, Darlene.
Check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, floor, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Roland. Quickly. The spreadsheet that was, okay, I'm sorry, the capital GIA. I know that you guys are having that discussion and question. So we take off that capital 120,000 GIA.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Oh. Should have
Hello,
missed the house.
for joining us again. So we had a little discussion here at our October 1st N.O.S.T Regional Council meeting. The bathroom admissions will be on the agenda too. Yeah, meeting, close the meeting at 1:56 p.m. Thank you. Safe travels, everyone.
Josh.